Hi, welcome to the News at Gen for Monday, April 26th. Happy Monday. It's World Intellectual Property Day, and it's mine. All mine. All of it. All the property is mine. Disney has nothing on it. You better like and subscribe too, or you won't get any of it. Or don't, and you'll get what you want anyway, because that's how things work. You know, I do watch the other late night shows, and I can't help but notice that Late Night with Seth Meyers also has been having these stupid jokes about the days of the year. And I just want to say, fair. It's a terrible gimmick, but I don't have a team of writers, Seth. I gotta start somewhere. It's not like we can all pay a staff of writers to make up puns about National Static Cling Day, which is an actual thing, I guess. When you thought it couldn't get any worse, after January 6th, the GOP appears to have doubled down on the terrible. There's a venom and malice in the GOP Trump ranks, where 51% of respondents to a poll said that politics is more about survival of the country as we know it, as opposed to policy. Historians do agree on one thing, however: there was never a country as they know it. These folks have also failed to remember their Batman lessons. You either die a hero or live long enough to become a villain, and they've decided on the latter. Jack Kerouac writes in the Trumpian magazine American Greatness, "The good man must spare not a moment to train in both body and mind to become the monster that he may need to become in order to slay the monsters that prey upon the vulnerable." If only we hadn't cut liberal arts education, we would have known all about that kind of thing, now wouldn't we? Careful what you stare into. A quarter of Republicans have said that violence was acceptable to achieve political goals, so I guess they've decided instead of greatness, they'll make America more violent. I just hope they remember that next time someone weeps over a broken window at the Starbucks after they kill another black person. In climate change news, President Biden's administration hosted a virtual climate change conference last week. So if your boss wants you to start coming back to the office, remind them that the government is trying to solve climate change with the Zoom. And they could probably do the same thing with you staying at home instead of coming into the office for your 5-minute wasted time stand-up meeting. Also in climate change news, a recent study has shown that climate crisis has shifted the Earth's axis by several meters. That's right, this is because the melting ice has changed the actual shape of the Earth. The change in the axis is only 4 to 10 meters, but like Dick's, it'd be a lot smaller if it was in the cold. Union organizers have threatened Democrats that they will not back Democratic lawmakers unless they back the Protecting the Right to Organize Act, also known as the PRO Act, not to be confused with the Prolapse. The unions know that they will not be able to pass the act due to the filibuster, but standards have lowered so much that now lawmakers are merely having to pretend that they're going to do something pro-union in order to be supported. In fuck news, Caitlyn Jenner has announced her run for the governor of California in the recall effort against Gavin Newsom. Scientists say that the size of every trans person in the United States continues with a historic increase of barometric pressure throughout the country. I'm sorry. In really, this is news, Ben Shapiro bought a piece of wood. Ben Shapiro's wood has appeared all over the internet with lots of people talking about it. I have no comment about the size, but I can tell you from the way he's holding it, he's not used to it at all. He's also got a receipt for it, which tells you that he's paid for his wood this time, but with the bag on there like that, it's pretty obvious that he doesn't know how to use a wood bag very well. Apparently he got his wood at Home Depot and carried it around for a while and then had someone take a picture of him holding it outside where everyone could see. He then put it on the internet as if he was proud of it. Oh, we're proud of you and your wood too, Ben. Also in small things that make news, someone in Russia ate today. Well, it was the other day. And that someone in Russia is the Russian opposition leader Alexei Navalny. He is ending his hunger strike after 3 weeks. He started his hunger strike to protest his treatment in prison, but some people were attributing his hunger strike to Navalny's desire to get some sick gains. Podcaster Joe Rogan applauded the move and said that intermittent fasting is good for you, but even Joe had to admit sometimes a dude's got to eat. Maybe some cordyceps mushrooms or some steak or something. Dude, maybe a protein shake or whatever stuff he's hawking right now on his podcast. Also in Russian news, Russia has reduced troops stationed at the Ukrainian border for their training exercise. There was also a leak of the training exercise name, which was called, quote, Invade the Ukraine. In New York City news, Andrew Yang appears to be leading the pack of those looking to become New York City's mayor. He's really been pushing for the vote, but later, after the cameras were off, he confessed that Chicago deep dish pizza is far better than New York style. That's an October surprise of sorts. In time machine news, Apple has announced their new iMacs will come in 7 different colors, which is, to be fair, more colors than the 5 that existed in the 1990s. Critics are calling the new colors colors. Though, to be fair, I do have a computer that has pulsing LEDs, so you do you, Apple. You do you. In sleep news, a 25-year study found that people who sleep less than 6 hours a day on average in middle age are more likely to develop dementia. At least I know my depression naps are keeping me sane. The Department of Health and Human Services has started undoing a Trump-era ban on clinics referring women for abortions. It's thought that nearly 180,000 unintended pregnancies occurred due to this rule. It is a shame, though, to think that all those pregnancies may have been caused by women having sex with someone other than me. Some critics say that it's kind of weird for people to have their medical issues treated, but getting into that is kind of what small government does. In symbolic news, President Biden officially recognized the Ottoman Empire's genocide of the Armenians. 1.5 million Armenians were killed in what considered the first genocide of the 1900s. Some famous Armenians include Kardashians, Cher, and the co-founder of Moderna, Noubar Afeyan. Now I guess we now know what's actually in those chips in the Moderna vaccines. They're really there to make us believe in reality. Pshaw. Who needs reality? And also in vaccine, and also in tiny news, a malaria vaccine has registered 77% effectiveness, which exceeds the WHO's 75% effectiveness threshold. 409,000 people died of malaria in 2019, which means there's going to be a whole bunch more people who can now work in Amazon warehouses. In even smaller news, the Mars Perseverance rover has extracted oxygen from the CO2 atmosphere of the red planet. While this technological feat is amazing, you can also do the same thing on Earth by planting a fucking tree. In no joke news, Saturday Night Live will have Elon Musk as a host on May 8th. This confirms everyone's suspicions that Lorne Michaels has never heard of me. Johnson & Johnson vaccinations are to resume, so I just need to take a minute to give a shout out to our sponsor, Great Sammiches Plus. Great Sammiches Plus has a wonderful vaccination sandwich. Use coupon code for 23% discount on your vaccine sandwich. Topped high with Moderna, Pfizer, and Johnson & Johnson vaccines with a nice processed cheese spread and some kind of loaf meat. So be sure to use coupon code for your discount. So thanks. And finally, new rule. No more rules about how some things are the last prejudices rule. Bill Maher blathered jokes about how ageism is the last acceptable prejudice, which might make sense if you realize he couldn't remember the dozens of anti-trans and anti-voting laws that are racist coming out throughout the country. Define who may accept it, Bill. That might help. He made a comment about CVS having shitty cards about being old. That kind of thing has existed for a long, long time. I can remember my grandparents turning 40 and those kind of cards being passed around. And I'm 40 and I never got one of those cards, Bill, so maybe it's getting better. He also said video games and watching people play video games are a waste of time. And for him that might make sense because he doesn't have much left. He's also far too busy getting high and not watching the movies that are up for Oscars. I get it, Bill. I get it. I haven't watched Nomadland either. But I'm not calling it as a point of pride. So, yeah, that's the news at Gen for Monday, April 26th, 2021. Thank you for coming out or staying in the closet, as long as you're watching. I hope you can come out sometime. I hope you had a great day. I had a busy week with queer-coded stuff, so be sure to check that out for some more fun shenanigans on that site. And please remember, like and subscribe, and never ever forget that I love you. And thank you. And thank you to my patrons whose names are scrolling by right about